ॐ सहना भवतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावतीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Namaste. There is a beautiful quote. I have never regretted my silence. I have never regretted my silence. It's a very powerful word. That's why they say, silence is golden. Okay, today we are going to discuss about a kind of a stimulus and response. Stimulus and response. Now I just want to give you about the context. When I say stimulate, that means you are spurring, prompting to into action or invigorate into the action or cause to make a action. This is the stimulate is the verb. Then stimulus. Stimulus is a noun. That means cause to act. And then stimuli. Stimuli is the plural. So stimulate is a verb, to act. Stimulus is a noun and stimuli is the plural. So let us understand this particular one. Okay, I always used to tell, all of us know about our date of birth. When we know, but why we don't know. The difference between the why and when. The why is more important on this particular one. See, in life, to live purposefully and meaningfully will answer the question of why. In other words, to strive to find a meaning in life. It is not that, you are eating, enjoying, getting married, getting children and dying. Okay, it is not the purpose. Okay, during this particular span of life, then you have something to do for which we want to talk about today. Okay, that is one. Say for example, all of us got a freedom. Now in this particular one, I want to emphasize the freedom. Our greatest freedom is to freedom to choose our attitude. Looks very difficult to understand. Our greatest freedom is to have the freedom to choose our attitude. And that is what exactly we want to discuss today. See, the author is Viktor Frank. He's a great man on which we are going to talk about his saying. So our freedom is what? You can choose to do, not to do it in a different way. It all depends upon the attitude. Okay. So now there is a beautiful word called logotherapy. Don't bother about the word, but try to understand the spirit. Okay, when I say logotherapy, I'll just read it so that you can be able to reflect on this particular one. Logotherapy is a school of psychology and a philosophy based on the idea that we are all strongly motivated to live purposefully and meaningfully and find a meaning in life. as a result of responding authentically and humanely, that is in a meaningfully to life's challenges. Okay, then you please try to read again, try to understand the spirit of the particular one. The most important portion of this particular one, to live purposefully and meaningfully. You must live purposefully and meaningfully. That means you have to try to find a meaning in life. In other words, this is a kind of a therapy which involves finding meaning on one's life. The same author, the Viktor Frank, has coined the particular word. Okay, now what do you mean by this logotherapy? Now, I told you earlier, today's session is about the stimulus and the response. Now, the same author, Viktor Frank, is a psychiatrist. Okay, now let me explain to you properly, and if you are able to understand that, you will also have a tremendous amount of freedom. Okay, now all of us get a kind of a stimuli from morning to the night. When I say stimuli, that means lot of the kind of a prompting the action, right? Provoking the action. Just give me an example. Suppose I see a sweet. Okay, I love it. The moment I see the sweet, that means that became a stimulus. Okay, a greedy man who doesn't want to work, if he sees the money, that means there is a stimulus. Okay, if you look at the dog, if you are looking at certain things, and then the dog will put the tongue down and started watering the tongue. What do you mean by that? These are all the stimulus. All the stimulus, there must be a kind of a response. See, that is the purpose of this particular session. That means we have a tremendous amount of stimuli, the plural. Every second, every hour, we are getting a tremendous amount of the stimuli. See, our real challenge is how to respond. So the difference between the stimuli and the response, how I can really respond. Okay. See, now, between the stimulus and the response, there is a space. See, what do you mean by space? That means there is a gap. And if there is no gap, you have to create a gap. Okay. Now, between the stimulus and the response, there is a space. This is a statement by Viktor Frank. Now, please think, reflect, try to understand the spirit of this particular statement. See, that means when there is a stimulus, now I have a choice. But as far as the stimulus is concerned, I have no choice. Suppose somebody call me as an idiot, right? So I have no choice. But I have a choice how to really respond. For that, I create a kind of a space. Now I have to recognize the space. There is a gap. There is a kind of the pause. Okay. So that means when there is a stimulus, that means I must take a space or a pause or a gap for me to respond. No, I don't have any kind of a choice in getting the stimulus, right? But I got 100% choice in responding from the stimulus. Okay, that is one. Now, in that space, or in that gap, or in that pause, our power to choose our response. Okay, that means now somebody give me a kind of stimulus. Now I take some time. I take a deep breath. I try to think the pros and cons and then try to respond. Suppose I don't take time, don't take the advantage of the space, if I don't take any kind of a pause, that means it will not be a response, it will be a reaction, which is very dangerous. Okay, now in that response, in our response lies our growth, freedom, and all the other things that you want to have in the life. Okay, when I say about the freedom, that is the ultimate, a kind of happiness. Now, who is in charge? Not the other one who is giving the stimulus. No. So I am responsible. So I cannot blame the person who is giving the stimulus. That means I have to understand the concept of space wherein I have got the full liberty to choose my response. Suppose if I don't do that, then the response will become a reaction born out of the impulse. Okay. So that means, once again I repeat it, between the stimulus and the response there is a space. It's a statement. Now what I am doing now? In that space, our power to choose our response. Right? That means I got my freedom to choose. In our response lies our happiness, growth, progress, freedom, everything that you want. Okay, good. This is about this stimulus and the response. Let me give you a kind of my own experience. About 20 years back, I was not well. I could not comprehend. I started a particular project, the educational institution, but I could not even think about it. So there was a phone call from a professor about the progress of this particular project. Now I took the call. Then he started, we asked a lot of questions about the progress of the project. But I could not understand. I could not even comprehend. Then he got very angry about my response. Then he started shouting at me. He started calling names. And he was fully, agitated. No, I don't know how to handle. I was just listening for some time. Then beyond that, I could not really stand. Then I just told the professor, saying that, Professor, you are not in your mood. Okay, I will call you after some time. Then he said, No. So I am in a mood. But talk to me. Then I don't know what to do. Then I create a kind of a space. Then I just told him politely in a lower voice, saying that, Professor, I am not in a mood to talk now. Okay, now I will definitely call you after 1 hour. I am disconnecting the phone, but I will definitely call you after 1 hour. Then, although I was very much disappointed, then I just lied down. I was just thinking about the whole incident, how to really handle this particular one. But I already told that I will call him after 1 hour. Then exactly after 1 hour, I called him. And then he took the phone. And then he started really crying. He said, Mr. Chandran, I am so sorry. I behaved like a child. I should not have done it. And there is a lot of maturity in you. Okay. Now, I just came back from my boss and he fired me about this project. Okay. Then immediately I called you. So I should not have done it. He realized. Then I just told the professor saying that, okay, your boss fired you and then you fired me. So whatever that you got it, you have given it to me. Okay, now I cannot give it to anybody else. So I was just thinking about the whole thing. Okay, it all happens in life. So why don't you accept on this particular one? And believe it or not, he said that when I come next time to Bangalore, I would like to have a lunch with you. Then he said, good, I will be too happy to host you. Then he came after 3 months. When he came back, the moment he saw me, he started hugging me. He started, shedding his tears. He said, Mr. Chandran, you are like a rishi. I told him I don't know. But I know one thing is that just because shouting with anybody, nothing will happen. So this is one of the experience which I will never forget in my life. And we are very good friends now. Just imagine if I taken the responsibility of reacting, that means I would have created an enemy. Now we are very good friends. Why I am trying to say this particular incident is that, okay, there is a lot of stimuli, but we have a 100% freedom to respond instead of reacting. Okay, take care and you will be able to understand this particular one to ensure that you will also be happy. Take care, all the best. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhavet Om Shanti Shanti Shanti